Usyk Dubois, big fight, likely to take place in August, we believe now, in Poland. They're just firming up the date at the moment, I believe. You were on a great run of purse bids, and then Alex Krasuk's decided to anoint himself the new king of purse bids. $8 million to $5 million, I believe. Still a $2 million payday for your man, Daniel Dubois. What did you make of not just losing the bids, but the fight now taking place overseas?
Well, first of all, the purse bid is split 75-25. So they got 75% of the money to play with. I don't know whether they're paying their guy $6 million or not. Daniel's getting what he was getting, we can only bid what we feel the fight was worth. There was only two people who bid for the fight. That was us and them. No one else bid for it. If Daniel Dubois was fighting Tyson Fury and it went to purse bids, it would generate 4 or 5 times more money than that purse bid. It's a fact. It would do. That's the value of Tyson. That was the 70-30, what he was talking about, because that's what he brings to the table. So it is what it is. Daniel's in the fight now. I genuinely believe he can win that fight. I think he'll upset the odds because obviously the other guy's the favourite. I think he can win it. And if he wins it, we are in a great position. And Daniel will be in a great position.
Well, talking of being in that great position, given the trials and tribulations Daniel's gone through, the loss to Joe Joyce, of course, how proud are you of the work you've done to bring him back to that WBA title and a $2 million payday, which is not to be sniffed at?
Well, I'm pleased with what we've done, and we've stuck with him when a lot of people were saying, had their views, and he's proved to me what he was all about in his last fight when he tore his ligament, had the operation on his leg, and came back and do what he had to do. But I'm also proud of what everybody's done. What the team, his management, have done. They're big believers in it. Martin has done a real good job as a manager, and he's now moved on with, as we know now, with a different trainer. But everybody did well. He's moved on now, and Don's got the bit between his teeth. He sincerely believes that he can win. It's not like Don's not been involved in world title fights in heavyweight divisions before, so he brings something to the party. It's not an ideal situation, leaving one trainer for another. But having said that, Tyson did it.
Yeah,
and went on and won the world title. So it's there to be done. So I'm pleased he's in the position he's in, Daniel, and I just hope he fulfills what I believe is his destiny to become the full world champion.
And you mentioned there about Daniel moving on from Shane McGuigan to Don Charles. Is that the sort of decision that you would be consulted on by Daniel or by his father or Martin or anyone?
I'm not going to go into the details, but it was a family situation, and it is what it is. I mean, it's not going to be reversed, and we just get on with it.
And what about the choice of the new trainer? Is that something where they'd ask you who you'd kind of advise them to go with, or do they just choose?
They spoke to me about it. I spoke to Martin about it, and they are where they are, and that's it. And we move on with it. Don was in the office, and we spoke a couple of times. Don knows what's what. He knows what he's got to do, and he's very confident, very, very confident of Daniel's ability and what he can do. He said he's like an unbelievable puncher and learner.
And on the subject of Usyk against Dubois, TV-wise, obviously Krasuk will now own those rights. How big will you be urging BT to chip in to try and get it on your channel?
Well, we want it on BT, or as it will be then TNT. We want it on there, and we'll make an offer the same as anybody else who's interested in do it, and whoever pays the most money will get it.
How disappointed are you when fights go to other broadcasters in these situations when they involve one of your guys? Or is it just one part of the business?
It's part of the business. All I want is my guy to win. Yeah. It's only a comeback to where we're
on
at.
TNT, yeah, exactly, yeah. We talked about Joyce there. He obviously suffered that defeat earlier this year to Zhilei Zhang. Punishing one. Obviously, the eye swelled up really badly, closed by the end. Wanted the immediate rematch. What was your view on that? Did you think he was right to do it?
Look, from his heart, it shows you what he's all about. You know, he wants to change where he's at. He's got to change dramatically his tactics this time round. I think he struggled with a southpaw stance, having not fought one for a while. I think he was, you know, look, he gets caught in fights. We all know that. That's nothing unusual. You've seen it happening in work, you know, like he did against Parker. But he came through and he got the better of it. He can't afford for that to happen again. He's got to deal with that southpaw stance. I genuinely believe that his eye hadn't started closing. If it hadn't been for the eye injury, I think that the tide would have turned in the latter rounds. That's my opinion. I may be wrong, and I'm sure plenty of people out there are going to say, you know what you're talking about. But that's what I felt. And I feel if he can deal with the southpaw stance on the rematch, I think he'll come through it and get his place back at the table.
We spoke to his management team a little while ago, and they said one of the main reasons they took an immediate rematch, because there was the option to have one in between, was that they want him back in that WBO interim champion status by the end of the year in case mandatories get called, which I can understand. But it's a bit of a complication, isn't it? Because maybe ideally for him with the eye and tricks with the southpaw stance, it might be better to have one in the middle.
Yeah, there's a case for both arguments there, and you can do it. All you can do is deal with what the reality is, and then afterwards, if we get it right, told you so. If we got it wrong, maybe we should have taken a fight in between. We can all be wise after the event. It is what it is. But I take my hat off to Joe for want to get straight back in there. You know, he's a tremendous fighter, as is Zhang. I mean, don't underestimate him. He showed what he was all about as well. He's a good fighter, a very good fighter.